things that I remember most about Jack and Sonia was playing bridge together. Jack's humor was fabulous. We laughed as much as we played, I think, and that would be good, because we did play a lot. It was wonderful to talk to Jack. We've talked several times, we visited, but he never once said how sick he was in this last time. I would have called, I think, a lot more times, but he controlled it, and couldn't miss him.
In 1963, in the North Hall Common Room in Antioch, when he and Sonia were visiting there. And then when they moved to New York, we became friends. And for almost 3 decades, the highlight of most weeks for me was playing bridge. With Gerald Harden, with my partner Ken Huber, and then with Barry Anslinger. None of us were serious about or good at bridge. Jack was the best, but none of us were good. The point of the evening was to talk. And we were all curious people, informed about politics and movies and music, and eager to share stories about our friends and families themselves. And that was the point, to get together and have the conversations. But the highlight of those evenings were Jack's stories. Jack was a raconteur. He could, when he worked for the Post, he would bring the lives of people he met at City Hall and report to life for us. Then when he went on to his heavy drinking years, he would bring stories of the folks he met at the Lion's Head or the West End. So the life, make them human, lovable, and hateable. That continued in his years at the Y, where we got to know the foibles of the folks that he met there. More recently, his healthcare providers. I hope his wonderful Dr. Sharon. I've heard so many wonderful, Sharon? I've heard so many beautiful stories about you. And I feel like you know people. Most recently, though, as I visit, since his fall, when I visit Jack, he tends to tell stories of his childhood, of his early girlfriends, Sonia, and often he would preface the old stories with, well, I know you've heard this before, which we had, but you wanted to hear it again. And I'm so sad that I'm not going to hear the recent stories again. I'll just tell one story. When I was a first-year law student, Jack and Sonia and a friend Gerald were walking home from a bar one night, and Jack observed 2 extraordinarily large New York City police officers and commented that some New York City cops are really bad, and whereupon he was arrested. And eventually released, and he calls this pre-cell home. He calls me the next day and asks for my legal advice as a first-year law student. He and I are on, this is a First Amendment claim. The statement was true. And I consulted with my professor, Irving Younger. He said, I think there's a better way. And that's to get some character witnesses who know him from the New York Post. So a lot of his colleagues from the Post came down and talked about what a fine person Jack was and how having this on his record would not be good for his life. And it was a cold, cold day in New York City, and the tiny courtroom was filled with people, including the 2 cops who, in their defense, oh God, were they petty. They were in layers and layers of stuff, and they were like limps. And the judge and the spectators and everyone, it was hard not to laugh. He was Sonia, so many of my friends.
What was he charged with?
Expressing, Paul, you might know, what's the charge? Expressing
disorderly conduct.
No, it wasn't even disorderly conduct. It was a speech offense. It was expressing disrespect of a New York City police officer. It was really
such a crime.
Jack and I were on it. We knew that this can't be right, but that's not the victory we won.
So often when I mention Jack, people who don't know him will say, oh, Sonia and Jack. And I say, Sonia and Jack, yeah. Sonia and Jack are the most extraordinary couple in the sense that they have been together for a very long time, and are very supportive of one another, and are very close, and are also more independent than any. Do you know any longtime couple that routinely does the math on dividing the bill after every restaurant? But I know what a big hole Jack will leave in my life, the hole that Christy and Sonia are dealing with. We all have to try to.
Trip on that old little gospel ship that's going far beyond the sky. I'm gonna shout and sing.